Hi everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I hope that you got in a lot of reading in July. I'm recording this beginning of August. I'm hoping that by this appears on my page by the end of August. I have had a bit of a I'm just a bit behind on stuff, so any case. So I'm hoping. But the book, as you see, is from the title. It's called The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm giving it a try. If you are aware, you've probably seen this book everywhere. It's been, it's, a lot of people love this book. I will give you the description of the book from the back, and then I'll give you my review and my rating, and we'll go from there. May 1789. When the Kennebec River freezes, entombing a man in ice, Martha Ballard is summoned to examine the body. As a midwife and healer, her diary is a record of every birth and death, crime and debacle that unfolds in the close-knit community of Howell. I think that's how I pronounce it. Months earlier, Martha documented the details of an alleged rape committed by two of the town's most respected gentlemen, one of whom has now been found dead in the ice. But when a male physician declares the death accidental, Martha is forced to investigate on her own. For one winter, as the trial nears and prejudices mount, Martha doggedly pursues the truth. Her diary lands at the center of the scandal, implicating those she loves and compelling Martha to decide where her loyalties lie. Clever and subversive, Ariel Lawhon's newest offering introduces an unsung heroine who refused to accept anything less than justice at a time when women were considered best seen and not heard. The Frozen River is a tense and tender story about a remarkable real woman, that's Martha, who left an unparalleled legacy, yet remains nearly forgotten to this day. I really like this book. Took me a little bit to get into it, so my rating for this was a 4.75 out of 5. If it hadn't been just that little bit, I probably would have been a 5 for sure. But this definitely is a favorite, and definitely is one that I will recommend to other readers, specifically other friends and family. My review is this. I really connected with Martha and her husband Ephraim. And I also connected with the sense of helping those who needed help, like those who had been oppressed, and with finding justice. I think that's what I really connected with here. And I also connected with the historical time period. Because women didn't have much agency at that time. You start to see the emergence. Sorry about that. If you heard that, that was just my earbuds falling down. Yeah, this is uncut and unfettered, so anything goes right now. I love the historical time period because it takes right just after the Revolutionary War. It takes place in 1789. So it's been about 6 years since the end of the Revolutionary War. So there's still, soldiers around. There's, people still remember the Revolutionary War and its hardship. The vibes that I got out of this book was that it was a strong sense of historical immersion in the period. Very clearly describes what life was like for most people in that time period, and people who had power and those who did not. I really also like the mystery that was at the heart of the story, really, and the suspense, because you thought, quite honestly, I did not expect who the killer was, and Yeah, just, I did not expect that person to be the killer. I won't say who it is because I'm afraid if I give it away, because it does come as a shock. I will say that. Who this book would be best suited for, I would believe those who like historical fiction, bar none, but also those who like historical fiction with a strong female lead, and who like historical mystery and suspense. I think it would particularly appeal to those who are interested in stories about women's lives of that time period. Not much has been written about women's lives in the revolutionary or post-revolutionary period. Primarily because, guess like they said, women are best to be seen and not heard, you know. Women didn't have much of an education, even if, I mean, you'll discover in this book that Martha does. She's very rare among her class, among her social set, that she does have an education. Whereas, and it would have been very much more common for her not to have an education, because when she mentions quite early on in the book that when she did get married to Ephraim, I think it's Ephraim, he had to teach her how to read and to write and to keep the books and to do all the store stuff that he does, you know, to keep his farm running, and to keep his business running. And if she were not able to do that, she probably would have been in much dire straits. She also mentions the education she got from a midwife that she, I think, named Dorothy. I can't remember. It's about halfway through she talks about that, but she talks about how she had to learn that, and it's a really interesting and eye-opening experience. But I would also say that if you like community dynamics in a historical setting, definitely it would probably appeal to you, because there's definitely a lot about that, especially about, I'd say throughout the book there's strong community dynamics, because I mean, either you don't like the fact that she is meddling in other people's business, or you do. And there's other people in the community, and even people that don't live in the community year round that are present. I would also say the pursuit of justice is a strong, if you like a pursuit of justice and in a historical setting, I think you would like this. Especially the fact that it is actually an actual case. It actually happened, you know. It's not like this did not happen. And I would also recommend it if you like multiple layers in a book. And there's multiple, because there are multiple layers. There's multiple things you can talk about. It's a great book club book. It actually really is a good one, because you can talk about a lot of things in this book. You can talk about, you know, justice for rape victims, or the justice for females in general, even in today's society. I mean, women generally aren't believed if they're raped in general, or sexually assaulted, or whatever. It's generally a he said, she said situation, largely. And I remember one case in particular where the guy got off with like a 6-week sentence in California and then could resume the rest of his life. But eventually he was convicted but now he is a convicted sex offender for the rest of his life. And that will tail him until kingdom come. But also, I would say also those who are interested in the history of women's healthcare, lots about that, and how women weren't and still aren't believed when there's something wrong, you know. and how hard it is for women to actually get the necessary health care that they need unless they've got a dedicated service. And how women are kind of shunted to the side when it comes to things like, even to this day, in regards to medical testing, like to drug testing. It's primarily men who are tested for drugs, and women aren't tested because, even heart attacks. We didn't even know probably until, I don't know, about 30, 40 years ago, that women's heart attacks are different than men's. We always assumed it was the same, but it's not. And even different. Yeah, so men and women experience healthcare very differently, and men usually get really good care, and women tend to still kind of get shafted. Anyways, I could go on and on about that, but I'm not going to. Women's healthcare is less funded than, say, men's healthcare. Let's just say that. I don't want to go on and on. Anyways, and so that was The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I don't know. I gave it a 4.75 out of 5, and I hope you pick it up somewhere. Either you pick it up at a bookstore or you pick it up at a library. Also a reminder that I am an affiliate with bookshop.org. So if you want to support me and my little enterprise going on here, you can do so by buying the book through there, or you can buy any other book, just as long as you use my link. And you can support your local independent bookstore wherever you may live, whether you live in the United States or the United Kingdom. As far as I know, Canada has not. There still isn't a Canadian. There isn't a Canadian portion. If you live in Canada, you got to ship it to someone to a U.S. address. So that is The Frozen River. I look forward to talking to you soon. Oh yeah, and make sure that if you like what you see in here, please like and subscribe and tell your friends. The more subscribers I can get, maybe I can get paid for this. And maybe I can learn to do some different things, like do some editing, maybe take a course in editing. And I know I probably can edit it. There's probably a video editor somewhere online that I can do, and I can add little funny graphics and stuff. Anyways, that was The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.